Marcin Gortat, undoubtedly the most famous Polish basketball player of all time. If I were to ask you about any others, you probably wouldn't know anyone else, and honestly I don't blame you. I didn't know either until doing some research and finding out there were a total of 4 Polish people in the NBA. Outside of him, the other 3 are Cezary Trybański, Maciej Lempe, and the most Polish out of them all, Jeremy Sochan. All these people, although extremely talented, are still overshadowed by Gortat's vast accomplishments. He's gone to the NBA Finals with the Orlando Magic, he won the German Championship with the Rhein Energy Köln, something very German name-ish, and even has a whole move named after him called the Gortat Screen. So no wonder that Poland, probably the most prideful country on earth, loves him. Right? As I said, Poland is a very prideful country. Whenever you mention something that has achieved, a swarm of Polish people gather around you like pigeons in the park waiting to be fed. Say you like pierogi or Iga Świątek, congratulations, you have now officially been accepted as a Polish citizen. But whenever I see a Gortat edit or anything that references the Polish hammer to be exact, there are instead comments such as 9x7 or is this the guy that created basketball? So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, as I tell you about the rise and fall of Marcin Gortat. Drafted back in 2005, he would debut later in 2008 with the previously mentioned Orlando Magic. After that, he would have a decently successful career playing for the Phoenix Suns, Washington Wizards and Los Angeles Clippers, with whom he would ultimately retire. And in Poland, they adored him. He became the face of Polish basketball. He was our little white LeBron James. Not only that, but he was also helping a crap ton of people. From junior camps, charity basketball games, a whole charity foundation, Poland-centered events in the US, special events for war veterans, this was just the beginning. People didn't just see an amazing athlete in Gortat, they saw a genuinely good person. There was simply nothing that could make anyone even dislike him in the slightest. Or so everyone thought. 2025 would mark the very rapid downfall of a once beloved athlete. In May of that same year, the presidential election was set to happen. Poland was going for a very rough time, so the tension was astronomically high. Cities fell, houses crumbled, families fucking evaporated because of political differences. There were 2 main sides, people voting for PiS, the currently ruling right-leaning party, and people voting for PO, the more left-leaning party with the current majority in the Senate. Although there were a lot more other amazing candidates, it would ultimately come down to a face-off between the 2 most popular parties. Fuck us, country. In simple words, you were wrong no matter what you chose. If you said you vote for PiS, you would get called a brain-dead thief that doesn't care about his country at all. And if you said you vote for PO, they'd just call you gay. In situations like this, the best option is to always keep quiet, because politics and famous people is like bioweapon in an orphanage, you don't want to see them mixed together. Sadly, Gortat didn't care. Instead, he would do the complete opposite. We would start seeing him expressing his political and very personal views more and more often, from simple TikToks to appearing on whole podcasts. Initially, he started by throwing in some subtle remarks here and there, for example about his preferred presidential candidate, like I'm voting for this guy because we've got a lot in common. This wasn't really that bad, but it would still put a little dent on his reputation. Nevertheless, people still respected him, and some even more because he was simply encouraging others to vote. Sadly, this would all change after a now viral podcast episode where we would see Gortat's true colors. Wojewódzki Kędzierski is a combination of the 2 hosts' last names and is one of the most popular podcasts in Poland at the moment. The first host, Piotr Kędzierski, a Polish radio host, a TV presenter, and also someone who plays a supporting role in this whole drama. The real firestarter would be the second guy. On that fateful day, Kuba Wojewódzki, one of if not the most famous Polish TV host, would tear Gortat apart. Kuba isn't just some average TV host. That guy is absolutely ruthless. He's got the reputation of being a dickhead, a subtle dickhead to be exact, because he picks out brutal topics and fires them at you like cannonballs with no remorse. So with Gortat being very vocal and the host having no mercy, it was a recipe for disaster. And that's exactly what we would get. Kuba started off by asking him some personal questions about his life and worldview. His intention was to, of course, make some cheeky jokes and have some fun out of that. But it turned out that Gortat didn't just give a simple answer, he started going in deep. He started giving super lengthy and heartfelt answers to already reputation-damaging questions. Right then, Kuba's eyes lit up, but not from joy. He wasn't necessarily happy about having more content. He was absolutely stunned. He quickly realized that this dude was so full of himself, puffing on his own bullshit, that it was getting borderline annoying. Just then, the questions started shifting from the already pre-written ones to asking about the stuff Gortat was saying in the moment. And after that, the rest of the interview was embarrassing, to say the least. Like in this case, Marcin would brag how he knows Shaq, Him and Shaq are some very good friends, they still keep in touch to this day. To which Kuba asks if he's got Shaq's number and to send him their group photo. Gortat then, instead of backing out or de-escalating the situation, proudly announces that, hold on because this is a bit confusing, he's got Shaq's bodyguard's cousin's number. This wasn't a single case, there are many other moments where he would get caught oversaturating the stuff he's talking about to a crazy extent. And if it was only this, then maybe people could just blame it on ego. After all, he's got achievements to back that ego up. Sadly, as you can see, the video is still playing, so we've got more coming. For me, there were 3 other particular moments during the podcast that made his reputation crumble. I mentioned this in the beginning, and it refers to Gortat being asked what's 9 times 7. Simple math question that probably a 3rd grader could answer, yet he couldn't. Gortat is known for being a huge patriot. Even before the question, he said that he was good in history back in the day, having a solid 4. So it came as a surprise that when asked about one of the most important Polish historical events, he had no clue. Even after receiving hints from one of the hosts, he didn't even try to guess and just straight up gave up. Last but not least, something that added a ton of fuel to the previous 2 questions was Gortat's crazy statement about towns and villages. He would proceed to insult people from small towns and villages by saying that they should not be able to decide about his and his wife's rights. This statement would then lead to the previously discussed questions, turning a little spark into a giant fire. This would highlight the hypocrite that is Marcin Gortat. Insulting other people's intelligence while being unable to do basic maths was a huge hit to his reputation. After that one podcast episode, his whole reputation did a huge 180 change. He was now seen as super full of himself, often lying in the stories he was telling. He also became a hypocrite, struggling with basic questions yet insulting other people's intelligence. In short, he became Poland's new laughingstock. Social media flooded with Gortat edits, showing his mistakes during the NBA and now humiliating interviews with him boasting about his achievements playing in the background. And as much as I would love to conclude this story with a turning point and a redemption arc, it won't happen here. Since that time, Gortat hasn't changed a single bit. Some could say that it's only been getting worse. For example, he recently decided to double down, or now even triple down, on that 9 times 7 joke in an Instagram story, saying that he only learned how to count from 1,000,000 up, trying to flex his wealth on us for some unknown fucking reason. So now the joke has evolved into 7 mil times 9 mil. Which is absolutely hilarious to me. But sadly, as it is with all the celebrity dramas, all we can really do is just sit back, wait, and maybe, just maybe, the Polish hammer can fix himself. And to finish this video off, I want to ask about your opinion, because I know most of the people watching me aren't Polish, so you might not even be familiar with this side of Gortat at all. I also hope you enjoyed this. It was my first ever take on making a Sunny V2 type of documentary, so I'm sure it wasn't perfect, but I did have a blast making it. So if you want to see more, if you liked it, then be sure to leave a like, sub, comment, whatever you can to support me, so that I know that I can post more of these things and you'd actually want to watch them. Simple as that. Last but not least, I want to thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.